Hello, Connect Groups, and welcome to chapter number 6 in the book of Romans. In this chapter, it gives us the notion of what happens after we say yes to Jesus. Chapter 6 is the beginning of the sequel, if we put it on those terms, the follower of Christ. On the first movie, which was a tremendous hit, by the way, talks about being sentenced to death. However, by the power of the gospel, the message of salvation of Jesus Christ intervenes, and by Jesus paying the price on the cross, we're justified and we have new life. Just at the moment of condemnation, we're rescued by Jesus. It is a new life, and we're enjoying being close to Him. This is how the first movie ends. But now what? People is thinking already, the only reason we have encountered our Savior is because we needed to be rescued. We needed His grace. We needed His rescue hand. So now what? Maybe we need to be in sin to have Jesus closer to us. So what is next? How the redeemed person behaves on the second movie. Should that person go back to sin to get the grace of our Savior? Paul says, no, in capital letters, because we have changed our status. N.T. Wright talks about the Christian that comes from a sinful nature to a new life. And he says, you should never think of yourself in the original mode again. In becoming a Christian, you die and rise again with the Messiah. N.T. Wright continues, since the Messiah represents His people, what is true of Him is true of them. And the act of baptism involves precisely that dying and rising with the Messiah. Interesting. That reminds me what Jesus says in Mark 10:38. You have no idea what you're asking. Are you capable of drinking the cup I drink, or being baptized in the baptism I'm about to be plunged into? And you know the story. You know why Jesus said that. Jesus said that because James and John asked Jesus to be seated next to Jesus. They were very bold to ask that. But also, they didn't know what they were asking for. In other words, James and John were asking the highest place awarded. And Jesus said, can you drink my cup? Be baptized the way I am baptized. The answer for James and John was clearly no, because they only wanted position and power. However, for you and me, and for anyone who is committed to Jesus Christ and dies to their sins in their hearts, they're getting baptized with Jesus. They die and rise again with the Messiah. When people submit to Christian baptism, they die with the Messiah and are raised with Him into a new life. N.T. Wright calls that a change of status. When I came to this country, I was called a permanent resident. I had to wait 5 years and a set of interviews, tests, and fingerprints to change that. Legally, I needed a change of status that allowed me to be called U.S. citizen. When I passed the interviews and the tests, they told me, you are not a resident anymore. When you change your status in Jesus, you're no longer located in sin. Grace has met us there to rescue us and to take us to a change of status. Jesus planted his life. N.T. Wright says. Have you experienced that change of status in Jesus? When we change our status, we also change our master, the one that governs our lives. When you change from one apartment to another, you change your landlords. In the same way, when you change from sin to new life, your Lord also changes. Now your master is Jesus Christ. So in chapter 6, Paul is giving us not just a specific instruction, but the framework for us to start thinking about why behavior matters and how to put that into practice. Our faith is not just a set of moral rules mixed with some strange and outdated beliefs and practices. It is a relationship, a way of living, because we have a new master, because we have a change of status, because we die and rise again with the Messiah, because we want to be true, genuine followers of Jesus Christ, the one that gave us life and salvation. So, what is the change that you are experiencing? Maybe that's the framework that you need to think about. I pray that you continue to change, not in order to gain a place in heaven, but because you have a place there and you are thankful of what the Lord has done in the cross for you. Please continue with the discussion in your group.